Hey, it's Allie, and welcome to day 6 at December Daily. Today I am sharing a story that I think was one of those things that happened that felt like it was serendipity and it was so cool and I loved it, so I wanted to make sure that it got included in my album. If you read my blog post today, you will see that there's an audio file that you can listen to, which is a recording of my daughter Anna talking about what her favorite Christmas tradition is and what she wishes for this holiday season. It was a totally kind of impromptu thing. I was working in my office, my microphone was all set up, she started talking, and she started talking in a way like that she was talking to an audience and that she was, you know, it's kind of like she was on YouTube just doing the audio, like that kind of thing. And so I asked her if she wanted to do it for real and I would record her. And so we did a couple of them. And then I said, well, do you want to talk about, you know, what your favorite Christmas tradition is? Because I was thinking immediately, like, how could I use this in my project? How could this become a part of it? And so that's what ended up happening is I recorded an audio file of her. In my blog post today, you can read about what the steps were to create a QR code, which you're going to see here in just a second. QR codes are something that you can generate, and then your phone, you know, when you take your phone and you put it over you scan the QR code with an app on your phone, you just get a free app, that QR code will link you to somewhere. And so in this case, the QR code that I made, which is just this little it's a little PNG file that you can print out, that was all free to do that. It links to the audio file, and so then you can listen to the audio file. So who knows if we will be using QR codes in the future, but I felt like it was worth it to include it in here. But I also went ahead and transcribed what she said in her audio message, and I put it just on a red background in Photoshop with white type. And this is also all on the blog. You can read exactly what she said there too. My day 6 originally had a 6x8 page protector with the die cut Mary. We have a craft die that you can purchase that says Mary. The number 6 there with the chipboard number 6. And then I'm thinking I'm going to put the rubber, one of these little rubber pieces from rubber circles from the main kit, like right on top of the 6 right there. That will be the front side, and then the back side is here. These were set up in Photoshop just to make them be the correct size, and I'll talk about that in just a minute. The back side has my story of just basically what I just told you, like what happened, the background behind it, and then talking about how you could click on there using a QR code reader. And then I'm going to use the chipboard piece from the December Daily chipboard set that says stories. And this is going to get trimmed out. These are just crop marks for me. Now, when I first did this, I thought about a couple things. One was I started out actually using one of the layered templates that's a December Daily layered template this year in Photoshop that has 2 columns, so 2 3-inch columns. And I kind of started out that way as like a she said, you know, or her story and my story kind of thing. And it wasn't working out because hers was a lot longer and I was having a hard time figuring out what the actual layout would be, and I didn't have a picture that I particularly wanted to use. I could take another picture, but I decided I'm okay with not having a photo for every day. You know, I'm gonna have more photos of her in the album itself, but I felt like the words were the important part that I wanted in this circumstance, and hearing her voice. And for me, having the QR code plus having the audio file on my blog, that's pretty good for right now. So what I decided was to bag the page protector. Actually, well, I haven't decided that yet. That's not true. I decided to keep the page protector. I went back and forth. I thought about just adding in a new page, but then I didn't want to deal with where the holes were going to be, because if I was going to put the holes on here, I would want to move the text over so that the text was centered on the spot, like past the holes. Like if this is this is how I think about these kinds of things, right? So I guess what I decided, because I worked on this yesterday in terms of getting the setup, how I wanted it I was doing it last night when there's not enough light here to record any of it. What I decided to do is I made it 4.5, I think it's 4.5 by 8, and I think that my end result idea, unless I change my mind right now, and I'm going to tell you about one other idea that I had when I was sleeping last night. This idea was it's 4.5 by 8. It will be back to back. This is the front, this other page is the back, and then I will stitch the page protector. So I will cut it to size and then stitch it, just making it an odd sized page protector. Now the other idea that I had while I was sleeping last night was to create, see how on the page protectors there's this space right here, the seam area where it has the holes. I was thinking about creating something like that would go along the edge right here, so that this part would all still be centered, but it would have some sort of decorative edge. And I actually think that I may still try that. In that case, it would be outside the page protector. But what I was dreaming about were, let's see if I can find them, were those, yeah, this is it. These old edge punches. These were from Fiskars. I'm sure, I'll try to see if you can still get them. I haven't looked this up yet. But where it would have some sort of a decorative edge that I could create a place where the page protector, where the holes would be to hold this space in there. So I think I might play with that for just a minute, and then I'll hop back on here and see if that's even a viable solution. I'll share with you what my results are, and otherwise I'm just going to trim this out, put it in here, and then I will show you how I adjust the page protector to fit that story. Okay, so process-wise here, I ended up testing out trying this Fiskars punch. I think it's called Grass is actually the name of it. I did find a link on Amazon. I looked on scrapbook.com too. I didn't see that they had this one available. They have some older ones as well. My idea here is to create a place where this part would cover up where the holes would be, and the holes would get punched in there. And then I kind of thought, well, maybe I could just use some of the rickrack from the kit. But I decided that I wanted to flush this idea all the way out and see if it was something that I wanted to do versus putting it actually inside the page protector. If you've seen the finished product already, you know that I didn't end up using the edges there, the scalloped edge. But I think it was worth it to just kind of test it out and see what was going to happen. And so I measured on the original page protectors, like how wide is the part with just the holes. And it looked like it was about 1 inch. So I decided to trim it all out, cut those pieces along the edge to 1 inch, so that then I would have, a front side and a back side for each of my, the front and the back of my story here. And then ideally it would get adhered onto the page, a little bit of it would get adhered along the edge of the page, and then I would punch holes in it to be able to put it into the album. It's basically just creating an area where the holes could be punched, because I would rather have the text or the story part be centered in the red. This is all just my kind of stuff, right, that I'm thinking about. So I looked at it a couple times, and then I decided, nah, it wasn't really what I wanted to do. I felt like it was too much white on there. It was like becoming too cutesy kind of in a way for my personal style. So I bagged it. But anyway, I wanted you guys to be able to see what was happening right there, how things were going. So what I ended up doing then was I started to adhere the QR code. I thought about putting foam dots to adhere it, and then I decided not to. So you're getting to see all kind of the changes that I make along the way and where I change my mind. And then I did get my ruler out because I felt like that wasn't centered and I wanted it to be closer to the center. I could have printed it out with it on there. It came as a PNG in that way, but I just used one that I had printed the first round when I was trying to get this right. Went ahead and adhered the number 6 onto the front side of my story today, leaving a little bit up over the top of the edge that I could cut off. Then I used some red line tape for the rubber piece there. And I kind of tried to use just one piece, and then it wasn't enough, so I cut a little bit more so I could kind of basically make a glue dot for that space. And those of you that have been listening to the last few days have heard me talk about how glue dots tend to have a bad reaction with those rubber pieces, so the red line tape has always worked pretty good. I did rolling adhesive just on top of the Mary die cut. That die cut was a craft die that was available earlier when our December Daily products went on sale. And there is a free download for you, and that's listed in the post above. So I decided to cut the page protector. I just laid it on top of my trimmer, and I cut it so that there was enough space so that I could take this washi, the star washi from Pam Garrison's December Daily mini kit, and fold it over the edge to create a pocket, to close off that pocket that I just cut off. So washi tape is another option for closing off pockets. You can stitch them. You could use a fuse tool. It's kind of up to you. I went the quick and easy route with no additional tools, which was just cutting it and then using the washi tape. I also decided to use my tiny attacher to staple the washi tape there, partly because just to keep the page itself a little bit closer in to the edge. Then I went ahead and used one of the Avery index tabs again. I love them. We'll use them all the time. And inside there I used the December Daily Christmas Phrases stamp set. I picked one that said something like the two of us together, and moments of magic, I think is what the other side said. One of them said like something Christmas with you, I think was one of them. Anyway, and then I used the red Pendleton ink. We have that in the shop as a part of the bundle, but we are sold out of it individually at this time, but it's a really nice red. So got that right in there, and then that was my page for day 6.